We are here with the Help Hope Heroes podcast.
Stevens Center, for me, they believed in me when I didn't believe in myself.
Recorded live at a homeless shelter.
I basically reinvented myself with the Stevens Center.
Our clients are the homeless, the addicted, those in poverty.
We fight the good fight.
Tear down some stigmas.
They taught me those life skills that I didn't have.
What does Help Hope Heroes mean to you?
If you come to the Stevens Center, you will be changed in a really good way.
Okay, here we are live with another episode 10 of the Help Hope Heroes podcast, the podcast recorded live at a homeless shelter here in South Omaha. We are pleased once again to have a very special guest with us today from our great partner, community partner, Completely Kids. We have Adrielle Griffin.
Hi, Michael. It's so nice to be here today.
What do you do at Completely Kids, Adrielle?
Yeah, so I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications for Completely Kids. So that involves keeping our website updated, keeping the public informed, handling a lot of our print and graphic design needs, marketing materials, things like that. I do have a social media intern who handles all of our social media. She's been amazing. So
they're nice to have those interns
yes,
that help out. They're
yes.
so helpful. My former intern is directing the podcast today, Ryan. He's now a part-time marketing communications associate.
Good
it's a
for
great
him.
way to get people into the
Yes,
mission.
yes.
Is to do that interning. And
Absolutely. I am a firm believer in good internship experiences because I had several good internship experiences. So, not the kind that you're getting people coffee or whatever, but just those hands-on things that you're really learning and like you said, helping people to see what's out there and what their potential job opportunities could look like.
Yeah, and in the nonprofit world, it usually is just one marketing person, if at all.
Yes.
Sometimes it's tasked to the development person at the same time, all that stuff. So it's always beneficial to have interns and that extra help. So if you're listening out there and you want to help either Stevens Center or Completely Kids in the marketing realm, be sure to reach out to us.
Yes.
And,
Yes. I think that goes to show, you're the executive director spearheading a podcast over here. So.
Oh, no. I'm the marketing director. But Michael is also our executive director. So that gets real confusing.
Okay.
For a lot of people, they always know that Mike is the executive director.
Gotcha.
Mike's also the marketing director.
Thanks for the correction on that.
No problem. But we should get him in here spearheading a podcast one day. So we know he's listening, and we should get your ED over here as well.
Yeah, she would be a great one.
That'd be a fun time. So thank you so much for joining us today. Again, as I kind of mentioned, is Completely Kids is a great partner of Stevens Center, especially with our homeless shelter clients. Just real quick, what is the mission of Completely Kids?
Sure. So our mission is to educate and empower kids and families to create a safe, healthy, successful, and connected community. We believe that kind of those four components are what we would look for in our neighborhoods or in our community. And so that's what we want to help our kids and families do. So we work with most of our families are living in poverty, and so we're helping them to break those barriers to create that safe, healthy, successful, and connected community. That
is so important. And you referenced the word barriers. It's kind of one of those things that it's an awareness thing. Until you start working in the nonprofit world or you start working around poverty, that's when you start to recognize a lot of those barriers are outside of their control.
Yes.
So it's so great to have folks like you guys at Completely Kids that can kind of just swoop in and be another resource for them.
Yes.
Now, how is it that Completely Kids works with Stevens Center?
Yes. So we years ago, and I don't even know how long we've been working with Stevens Center, but we were actually the first nonprofit in the area to recognize that the folks who are living in the homeless shelters aren't just adult males. I know that you probably see that stereotype stigma all the time, but actually many of the residents that are living in homeless shelters are children. Children coming in with single parents. And so we saw that there was a need for after school programming for kids. They needed something to get their mind off of the situation that they were in. And so we partnered with Stevens Center. We also partner with Salvation Army, Phoenix House, and Council Bluffs, and started that programming. And it's been a really long and healthy, blossoming partnership. It's a joy. I love coming to visit the homeless shelters, to just interact with the kids and the families, and to see what our organizations can do together to empower their lives.
Yep, and I like the familiarity, if you will. It seems to me I see the same employees of yours coming
Yes.
over pretty much every day of the week during after-school hours to be mentoring and tutoring these children, and they really grow a bond with them. I mean, they get to know them by first name.
Absolutely.
Not only do they help the folks in our shelter, they're helping out with the children that are staying in our permanent supportive housing apartments. So these are
Yes.
children and families that have emerged from homelessness. And a lot of times that parent needs that little break from their child after school so they can go take care of business, whether it's a job or
Right.
whether it's shopping or paying bills. So it's so helpful in very many aspects. Now, I do see, and I just want to dive into Adrielle a little bit, and then we'll
Yeah.
get back to the mission. I do see you have a journalism background. That's what you graduated with
Yes.
originally.
So I graduated from college expecting that I would be a reporter, and I was for a short time. I loved my reporter work, but it was difficult to stay in that field as a newly out of college professional. That job didn't pay real well.
Yeah.
And so I had college loans. And then I also didn't realize we work in a world as marketing professionals who we have deadlines all the time. But news deadlines are a whole new ball game. Yep.
Completely more intense, right?
Yes. And so in our world of technology, it's not that you're waiting for a deadline to get it out in tomorrow's paper. It's you got to get it back and get it online as quickly as possible. So I was constantly rearranging my schedule. There were a lot of just family things that I was not able to be a part of because the news never stops. And so I just didn't feel that the schedule was the right fit for me.
That
So
work-life balance that you must have.
Yep. Even though I loved, it sort of satisfied my curiosity for the world. It satisfied my desire to go out and meet new people and just learn about them and kind of what made them tick. But I moved up to Norfolk, Nebraska for a couple of years after that and worked as a publisher's assistant for a magazine up there and felt that I wanted something beyond the world of entertaining people. So moved down to Omaha. At the same time, my fiance, now husband, moved out to Omaha, and we started a life here, and I found Completely Kids and told Miss Penny Parker that that's where I wanted to be. So she said, I want you here too, and I've been there for the last 7 years.
That's fantastic. I'm so happy for you to take that journey. You still got a hint of what you worked on in college and what you always wanted to do. So you got to experience that, and now you found something fulfilling. I know I myself, that's been so important for me in my career is to find, a mission that we're passionate about. And, it doesn't always feel like work when you have to go in, you're excited to be able to help those in need. And that's just so cool.
That's exactly right.
Yep. And to find like-minded people is even more interesting because you're kind of on that same page. Now, because you like stories and you like journalism, is there a story that kind of connected you to Completely Kids?
Sure. So one of the things that comes to mind, and I'm not just sharing this story for the benefit of Stevens Center and whatever, but this is one that has always just stayed with me. I was actually here at Stevens Center talking with the kids, and they were working on a service learning project with the Nebraska Humane Society. So that involves making blankets, making dog toys, making adoption posters to help get those pets adopted.
How cool is that?
Yes. So I'm an animal lover. So, kids, animals, it's the best partnership, right? So one of the children made the connection that these animals were homeless too.
Wow.
And he was homeless. And yet, even though his circumstances were not great, he saw that there was a population out there that still needed his help and that he could contribute back to that. And that story will always stick with me.
Yeah, I don't think I'll forget that one
Yeah.
either. That is a great story.
Yeah. So I just loved that he was able to make that connection. But then I think it goes to show that it doesn't matter what situation you're in. There's always someone, something out there that needs your help. And
Absolutely.
you always have something to contribute.
And when you see such a young mind, find that for themselves
Yes.
and actually can feel like they're able to contribute, and it kind of takes their mind off of their own situation
Yes.
at the same time. So there's been a number of cool things that you guys have done at Stevens Center last spring. So over a year ago, you guys had commissioned an artist. They were awarded, Completely Kids was awarded a grant. They commissioned an artist to work with children in a homeless shelter to create an art piece, and they chose Stevens Center.
Yes.
We were thrilled by that choice. Now the piece is hanging in Fran's Diner. If you've never come to Fran's Diner, please come down. Let us know. Come down for a tour. You can see these wings, these angel wings that were created by over 30 homeless children. I got to create a little piece of it too with my own son, so it was a great bonding experience that way. But it took 8 weeks, and that artist came here every week and worked with the children, and they got to be a part of something special that now hangs in our diner from here until who knows how long. So that was something very cool.
Yes. Yeah. We've had some really, I think there's been, just the partnership that Stevens Center and Completely Kids has is very strong. And so when we can pull in other community partners to that as well, and sort of be the model of what community partnerships look like, I think that's super cool. And those wings are gorgeous. So yeah, I would echo, come down and see them.
I completely agree that we are a good model for those out there. We cannot do what we do alone, obviously, and you guys are just one of the steadfast that are always here. You guys are actually the community partner, the one that we have that has their own room here at Stevens Center, so you guys don't have to lug all this stuff back and forth for the children, for the benefit of the children. Now that school's out, it's the summertime. You guys are still very active here. What are some things that will happen for the children? Are there field trips in the works? Or
So I think one of the things that happens is we actually, at all of our shelters, come to pick up the kids and bring them to our building so that they can get out of, working in the homeless shelters is different than working in the schools. We're working at that point in those kids' homes at that point in their life. So being able to get them out of their normal environment and engaging with other kids and experiencing a different space, that creates some excitement. But as you said, they are going on field trips all summer long. So we do get funding to have field trips through the Peter Kiewit Foundation. And so they're going to splash parks and the Henry Doorly Zoo and to the Ashland Wildlife Safari Park and Strategic Air and Space Museum, Durham Museum, Joslin Castle. All sorts of opportunities for those kids to just get exposed to their community. I think, as you and I know, that those opportunities wouldn't be there for them if it weren't for us doing the work that we do and generous community partners and funders stepping up to make sure that they have those experiences.
Yep, and that specifically was Peter Kiewit Foundation doing that for you guys this summer, so shout out to them.
Yes.
You can't really hear about a cool project happening in the nonprofit world without hearing about Peter Kiewit Foundation.
Absolutely,
Such
they're
great
amazing.
organization. And I know, coming into the nonprofit world, I always had the idea that Omaha was a very philanthropic city, if you will, but not to this level. You get to see it, especially around the holidays, just the giving, not just of foundations and businesses, but also of the individuals. And so it's cool to see that firsthand, and just makes you grateful to live in such a community. Yeah,
Definitely.
So real quick, there's probably a chance that somebody is struggling out there that might come across this podcast. Is there anything that you could think to say to a struggling family in the Omaha community?
I think that, as you and I just talked briefly before, don't be afraid to ask for help. That's what our organizations are here for. It's not a sign of weakness. When you have to ask for help, we we all have had our times of struggle where we have to kind of wag our tail between our legs and say, I need help.
Yep.
You know, I've had my own experiences like that. And whether it's homelessness, a struggle in your marriage, behavior issues with your kids, that is what we are here for. And so, like I said, it's not a point of weakness to come to us and ask for help, because we're here to provide those resources. And if we can't provide those resources, we have connections throughout the community that we can point you to or connect you with. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, especially to the point of if we don't know how to help, we know the resources.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's an awareness thing too, where the families aren't aware that the resources are even there. So once you humble yourself to the point of asking for help, it can kind of be this domino effect of learning of other resources, so that once you do emerge from poverty or homelessness, you now know those resources are in place, and if you have to go back and ask for help again, you know that it's there, and they're a little more confident in doing so.
And I think, we have seen the success stories too of people who have said, you know what, I'm at my what's end. I don't have anything else that I know to do. And they come to ask for help, and now they're out there making a difference in their communities, touching just a little part of the world to make that difference. And they're able to share those stories of how Stevens Center, Completely Kids, Peter Kiewit Foundation, whatever it is, has made that difference in their lives. And hopefully that's enough to help somebody else say, I see what that did in their life. I'm going to go ahead and make that ask for help too.
Yeah, so cool. And I think a lot of people, especially staying in our shelter, will get blown away by some of the opportunities that they couldn't even fathom, such as all the children getting to go on these awesome field trips this summer. Over the fall, you guys actually brought the zoo to Stevens Center,
and I know that was a huge hit.
That was so cool. I mean, it was a hit with the adults as well as the children. And so we had good attendance at those, and I know I was at pretty much all of them when I was able to make it. And just, again, something that I don't think those not involved in nonprofits actually realize is how robust the resources get and how we can actually do more than just provide for basic needs, right? And it's these little things where they see people caring to the point of bringing the zoo to Stevens Center, where the hope gets restored, and then we're able to actually start, have them start dreaming again.
And I think that's exactly what it is. It is restoring that hope so that they see that there's something beyond the situation that they're in. And maybe it's, sparking a lifelong career interest or hobby interest that gets them somewhere down the road. And I said before, I'm an animal lover, so bringing in animals, the snakes too. I like the snakes. I know not everyone likes the snakes. Now, if they brought in spiders, that's a whole different story for me. Yeah. But
well, the children thought the snakes was cool, but all the adults just kind of
it was funny to see the adults, walk away.
All right. So if there's anything that you could want to say to the community about your mission, something that they may not know about the work you guys do, anything you'd like to say to the community?
Sure. So I think one of the maybe big stereotypes or misnomers is that, we're just a daycare center that provides, daycare services for kids. And that is so far from the truth.
Yeah.
We are an after-school program, which means that the kids are coming in and doing hands-on academic and enrichment activities. Those activities supplement what they're learning in school and help them to sort of apply those concepts that they're learning in school. Additionally, we feel like it's really important that for the kids to be successful, their families have to be involved. Yeah. And, we've talked about those barriers. It's not that our families don't want to be involved. They just have tremendous barriers. And so we are helping to, whether it's connect them to resources or just to kind of get them out of their current situation for a little bit, or empower them with skills through adult education or whatever it is. We want them to better their situations, better their families' lives, so that their whole family can be successful. And so that kid can get the hope restored, and see that they have somewhere to go beyond elementary school, beyond middle school.
Yep. Well, I like that because it sounds like you're not there just to help at the moment. You're setting them all up for successful planning in the future. So now you're showing them how to do things, not just now at this moment, but building on a future of involvement and how to be involved, and kind of just teaching the importance of engagement, the importance of sitting down next to each other to figure something out and do a puzzle together, even stuff like that. So,
and I think a few years ago, we actually had one of our elementary alumni who was in high school come to our executive director and say, "I need a job, Penny." And she was like, "Okay, we're going to make it happen." So from that, he piloted a teen employment program. And that has started sort of this mutually beneficial partnership with our teen alumni. So one, they're getting leadership skills, mentoring through some of our staff, and they're also getting paid job experience under our program support staff at each of our sites.
How cool.
As they work through high school. And then what that does for us is it creates a pipeline of support staff who know the program, they know the kids, who once they enter college want to come back and work for us. And they have a really unique relationship with the kids because they were once the kids.
That's so cool. You said elementary alumni is the one that came up with this?
So he was an elementary alumni.
What does that mean?
So he was an alumni of our elementary programs, I think even up through middle school.
Okay.
And then we didn't have a teen program at the time. And so when he came to Penny and said, "I need a job," here he is in high school, we're like, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
So we employ 20 to 30 of our alumni every single year. And I think that goes back to what you're saying about we're not just dealing with the here and now. It's setting them up for long-term success. And I think going back to community, we couldn't do any of these things without the providers that come in to teach music and art and cooking and whatever it is, sports things, hobby, career things. And we couldn't do it without the funders who help to set us up for success so that we can empower them with those skills. So
you guys get some volunteer support at Completely Kids?
We do. So we have several volunteer opportunities. Some of them are directly at site, reading with the kids, working with them on academic and enrichment things. We also have our weekend food program that is completely volunteer run. So they come in, pack bags,
distributing food into bags and for families in need. So it's kind of like a pantry where families.
Sort of. So it's actually what we saw. It's been probably almost 15 years now. What we saw is that kids were coming in on Monday morning and they couldn't focus in school because they were hungry. And I know for me, I've had breakfast in the morning and I'm hungry by like 10:30 or 11 and I'm like, where's my food? I need to go get food.
Can't focus on work.
Right. So if they haven't had much to eat over the weekend, like how can we expect them to be successful in school? So we launched the weekend food program, and basically we just send food home with them over the weekends. It's child friendly in that they can open it themselves. It doesn't take a lot of preparation. So fruit cups, some Easy Mac, things like that.
Lunchable style.
Yes, that's basically.
Open it up and you're good to go.
Right.
Yeah.
That's basically tries to be as nutritious as you can get for non-perishable food.
And again, so they need volunteer help on something like that. How could somebody go about finding out more about volunteering at Completely Kids?
Yeah, so a couple ways. You can visit our website, completelykids.org. We do have volunteer page that lists our volunteer opportunities on there. And we're always looking for volunteers to come help with that, to come help with reading buddies. We've got this great new expanded space too. So there are some new opportunities with that. But then we also are part of Share Omaha. And Share Omaha has been a great resource to try to connect the community with nonprofits.
Absolutely.
For volunteering and donation opportunities. So there's another way. If you go to, I think it's shareomaha.org.
Correct.
That you can just check out our profile on there and see what we've got going on, what's upcoming, and reach out to us on there. And the volunteer person is actually my employee. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
So she'll get right back to you and try to set you up with something that's successful for you too.
Good deal. Now you just mentioned in that expanded space.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have a brand new building.
Yes, it's amazing.
How long has it been open?
So officially just since May.
Okay.
So what we did, so we're at 26 in St. Mary's. We've been there for over the last 10 years. And so what we did was over the holidays, it was crazy season. Over the holidays in 2017, we temporarily relocated.
Mm-hmm.
And that meant actually being housed out of 4 different locations. Our main office was housed out of 4 different locations. So we had curriculum in one place. We had to move our programming at the building to another place. Our weekend food was housed together. And then we were in administrative offices off of like 72nd and Mercy. So It was kind of crazy.
Very spread out.
Yes. Wasn't ideal, but we made it happen.
Yeah.
And so we were actually there for about 10 months while they renovated our existing facility. So we moved back in it was actually Halloween Day of 2018. And then they continued with the expansion, which was completed the beginning of May. We held our open houses. And
I'm sorry I missed that. I got the invite and I wasn't able to make it, so I do owe you a visit.
Yes,
so,
come
we can
over
come
for a
down
tour. We love showing
know-
off our space, so people come see what we do.
All right, so
It's
not just
awesome.
me. Everybody
Yes.
can come
Anybody-
in for a tour.
anybody
And I
can
think
come.
That's an important part of getting connected to a mission. I know a lot of people here, they have an idea in their mind of what a homeless shelter would look and
Right.
feel like. But upon their first impression at Stevens Center, wow.
So different.
Okay, and talk to me a little bit. What's your impression of Stevens Center as the shelter? I mean, the first time you come and experience this new building. I mean, we had to relocate temporarily as well.
Right.
So we kind of know your pain. I wasn't here at the time, but I hear stories all the time. We were up at St. Mary's School, and they allowed us to stay there.
So Stevens Center is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times what people think of homeless shelters are like, it's this like dirty, dingy space. And it's like, no, like we have people living here. We want them to like thrive here, not
Correct.
just have some place to go, you know? And so it has to be very organized. It has to be, and Stevens Center is all those things.
Yep.
And then I think for us too, the fact that you guys believe so strongly in what Completely Kids does to actually build in a room for us. Like that was so much more than we could imagine. And it's fun and colorful, and the kids enjoy being in that space. So come see our spaces.
Yep.
Like that is how you get truly connected to the mission of what we do and really find out what goes on in our spaces.
Yep. Great point. All right. So we've already talked about how people can volunteer. I'd imagine, though, you guys are out there on social media.
Yes.
Is that a good way to stay connected with what you guys do?
So as I
Facebook?
mentioned before, I have a social media intern. She does an amazing job of just keeping up with what's going on at Completely Kids, but also just trying to celebrate with other community partners on what they have going on in their spaces. But then also just doing some fun things, like Friday was National Donut Day. So we went and got donuts and posted that on social media.
Yeah,
I mean, who doesn't love donuts, right? So we've got a Facebook page, so you can find Completely Kids. We also have several pages for some of our sites. So you might see several Completely Kids things pop up, but ours is Completely Kids. The rest of them are tied with our elementary schools that we work in.
Gotcha.
Feel free to go check them all out.
Yep.
We're also on Instagram, again, Completely Kids. I think it's 2566, which is our address.
That's what I was going to guess. 26 and St. Mary. Right?
Yep. And then we're on Twitter, Completely Kids.
Great.
And
I know if
LinkedIn.
if you're following us at all, we've tagged them a few times too, so you could always go there and find the link.
Find us that way.
Yep. You can find a link that way too. So that's great stuff. I've gotten to know you a little bit over the last couple of years, but this has really been a great conversation, and I learned a lot. I had no idea about that teen program. I just think that's so cool that somebody that received your services as an elementary age student has now come back and added to your mission.
Yes.
I mean, and that's the organic, cool stuff that you get to see a lot when you're in the nonprofit world. Is, we started off with a purchase of an old bar for $10,000 35 years ago, and here we are, state of the art facility, and pretty much an entire city block is our campus. Yeah, and we're getting to see the same growth in you guys, and how exciting is that? It's always unfortunate there's a need for our services, but at the same time, the fact that we can do something and we do see success stories should be encouraging to us both, as well as the entire community. So Omaha, big pat on your back there.
Absolutely.
Pat yourself on the back there. Yep. So, you've watched a couple of our episodes. We always end with the same question.
Yeah.
What does Help Hope Heroes mean to you?
So I think for me, Michael, that Help Hope Heroes means the individuals who are out there every single day working to improve their lives and help their families become more successful and more healthy. And those of us who just get to come along beside them and encourage them and cheer them on. I think simply that's what it is.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well put.
Thank you.
Again, such a pleasure to have you as a guest. We hope to have you back again, or some
I
of your
would love
colleagues
to.
back. Bring that social media intern in. We'll have some fun and get to know you guys even better. Again, completelykids.org. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Get connected to their mission. They're one of our great partners here. We can't do what we do without you guys' help. So thank you for the time today.
Thank you so much. We'll have to bring in maybe some of our shelter staff and maybe
talk
about some of the things that we do together.
Absolutely. Get those stories.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you. We are here with the Help Hope Heroes podcast.
Stevens Center, for me, they believed in me when I didn't believe in myself.
Recorded live at a homeless shelter.
I basically reinvented myself with the Stevens Center.
Our clients are the homeless, the addicted, those in poverty.
We fight the good fight.
Tear down some stigmas.
They taught me those life skills that I didn't have.
What does Help Hope Heroes mean to you?
If you come to the Stevens Center, you will be changed.